All right, we're live. We're live on direct chat. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, that's good. That's good. Um. Oh, make the screen bigger. Okay, give me a second. All right, chat. All right, chat. Is that okay? Let's go. All right. So El Mencho. That's a part of the El Chapo family. So let's see what's going on.
Imagine a man so feared that just hearing his name can silence an entire room. He is the most feared man in Mexico. With a single phone call, lives can disappear. Entire families can be erased, not as a threat, but as a warning. That fear is his real power. El Mencho isn't just another drug lord. He commands a criminal empire worth billions, enforced not by publicity but by absolute terror. While others chased fame, flaunted watches, and built narco mansions, he vanished into the mountains, protected by killers and surrounded by...
See, I always said that if I was a cartel or a major drug dealer or whatever, I would even be on social media. I'd be far up in some place where I'm just surrounded by nothing but trees and water and nature. No mobile device, no nothing. I don't need none of that. Yeah, so nowadays the modern days cartel, they're getting much more smarter now. So they have the technologies now. They be using AI. They be having like special ops on their team. They be having intelligent services. They be having So yeah, they're really getting very smart. The new generation cartels. But yeah.
Silence. Some believe his fortune surpasses El Chapo's fortune. Today we dive into the world of El Mencho, uncovering how much money his cartel really makes, how massive his fortune might be, and what his hidden lifestyle actually looks like.
¡Tendencia bajista!
Dicen que invertir es un caos.
Alright, chat. If there's anything in this documentary that you think is not true, highlight it in the chat. Or is there anything that you want to add that you feel like it's a knowledge and it's also facts? You can also put it in the chat or put it in the comment down below.
El Mencho didn't come from power or money. He came from nothing. Born in a tiny village in Michoacan in 1966, he grew up farming avocados and dropped out of school by the 5th grade. As a teenager, he was already working for local traffickers, guarding marijuana fields at just 14. Like many in his situation, he crossed into the U.S. chasing a better life, but ended up dealing drugs and got locked up. After doing time, he was
You see, every similar drug kingpin or cartels, they go through similar upbringing as a child. They was working on a farm, might not be doing illegal activities, but they've learned the trade of being a farmer, and then over time, they start farming for the illegal stuff. After this, I'm gonna do a reaction to Scarface, because he's also, a legend. So I'm gonna do a reaction to Scarface after this reaction. So look out for that one.
Recorded, and that's when things got serious. Back in Mexico, he briefly became a cop, then flipped sides and joined the Mencho cartel. His rise was fast. He married into the Valencia clan known as Los Quines and gained power quickly. By the 2000s, he was running key territories, feared for how cold and calculating he was. When the Mencho cartel fractured, he made his move, took over the strongest faction called Los Torcidos and rebranded it as CJNG. From there, everything exploded. His cartel expanded fast, armed to the teeth, and wasn't afraid to take on the Mexican state. They even shot down a military helicopter in 2015 to stop his capture. Even as...
You hear that, chat? This man shot down a military helicopter in 2015. Like, you know what kind of weapon you have to do such thing? Just to show you, man, the money, once you have money, if you want to do good with it, you can do super good with it. If you want to do bad with it, you can do super bad with it. Crazy.
CJNG grew into the most violent and powerful cartel on Earth. Almost no one knew what he looked like. He didn't do anything flashy. No interviews, no big mansions. Just safe houses in the mountains, loyal guards, and silence. A ghost with billions and an army, hiding in plain sight.
You see, that's what I said at the start of the video. That's the same thing I would do. I would just hide off up in somewhere where it's surrounded by trees and, you know, nature and stuff, no devices, and just have me, family, and security, you know. And yeah, and even that, I'll have securities to watch my securities as well. You know, I need ground securities, I need air securities, and then I need an intelligence service. You know what I'm saying? I need detectives. I need, you get what I'm saying? I need all of that. But yeah, you know, El Chapo is a legend.
Sight. Running one of the most powerful cartels on the planet means El Mencho isn't counting stacks, he's counting billions. The scale of CJNG's operation is almost hard to wrap your head around. Just from drugs like cocaine, fentanyl, and methamphetamine, estimates say the cartel pulls in well over $15 billion a year. Cocaine alone brings in the biggest chunk.
You hear that, chat? $15 billion a year. Now you wonder why people risk their life, risk their freedom, you know, to become a drug dealer, you know, to become a kingpin or a member of the cartel. Because if you think about it, the risk is very high, but the profit is very, very, very high. And the profit could be sweet when the profit could be sweeter than the risk, you know what I'm saying? So it's a risk. Me personally, I wouldn't do it because you just never know. Sometimes you have to have a structure, and that structure has to be built in you from young to able to build an empire without no one snaking you, you know, no friends turning on you, no snitches, no nothing. It takes a while to build that. You can't just start. Like, so if someone said to me right now, oh, do you want to create your own cartel and you want to be a drug dealer and do this and that and whatever, I would tell them, listen, give me a few years. I need to build my team first. I can't just jump in and just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I need to build my team first. You get me? It's just like a football match.
Fentanyl is right behind it, and meth fills in the rest. And that's just the drug trade. That doesn't even include all the other hustles they're involved in. Over time, that kind of money gave CJNG a war chest that rivals legitimate global corporations. One former DEA agent even said that CJNG and its financial arm, Los Quines, had more money than the Sinaloa cartel. That's saying a lot. So how do you even...
You know, that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot.
Make and hide that much cash? The short answer: diversify everything. Unlike older cartels that mostly focused on drugs, CJNG transformed itself into a full-blown criminal corporation. Narcotics are still the backbone, of course. One of their biggest side businesses has been stealing oil and gasoline by tapping directly into Mexico's pipelines, a practice known as huachicol. According to government reports, this alone has cost Mexico...
What? Just to show you, yo, these are actually stealing oil from the government. You never hear about no one stealing oil. You always hear about a country invading another country to take their oil, but you never hear like, yo, there's cartels out there tapping into the pipe underground, digging tunnels and tapping into pipes and stealing oil and reselling it. Oh, come on, man. They're all about the money.
Billions in revenue. By the the mid-2020s, CJNG was reportedly making hundreds of millions a year just from stolen fuel. On top of that, U.S. investigators uncovered their involvement in scams like ripping off tourists and retirees with fake vacation deals, along with other white-collar crimes designed to wash dirty money. But making money is only half the job. Hiding it is just as important. El Mencho followed a classic cartel strategy. Funnel the cash into businesses that appear totally normal. Throughout the 2010s, front companies tied to his family and inner circle popped up all over Jalisco. In 2015, the U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, dropped the hammer, blacklisting a huge network of businesses connected to CJNG. While it's not openly disclosed which businesses are linked to the CJNG, my investigation uncovered connections to Mizu Sushi Lounge, a Japanese restaurant with locations in Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara. The restaurant originally closed due to U.S. sanctions.
You see how far these cartel money stretch? They invest in anything, any type of business. They'll be investing in because they have so much money. They're trying to wash all that money, trying to hide that money. You see, Japanese restaurant. You got a Japanese restaurant. You see, that's just different.
Sometime later, a new Japanese restaurant called Kenzo Sushi opened in Guadalajara, which was even visited by boxer Canelo Alvarez. A tequila brand called Onze Black, and a luxury cabin rental resort named Las Flores Cabañas in Tapalpa, Jalisco. There was also a prominent advertising firm, J&P Advertising, and even an agricultural company.
They even had an advertising company, advertising, like, come on. Even now in these modern days, it's not really an advertising company, like, you can think off the top of your head like that. You get me? They had advertising and agriculture as well.
JJGON that turned out to be CJNG fronts. And that was only what authorities managed to uncover at first. The Valencia family, El Mencho's in-laws who run Los Quines, are especially skilled at laundering money. They poured drug profits into real estate, shopping centers, gated communities, resorts, even properties outside Mexico. For instance, one shopping plaza in Zapopan, Plaza Los Tules, was under their control. At one point, U.S. officials even identified two bakeries as cartel fronts. One was a bakery cafe called Bake and Kitchen in Zapopan, and the other was an adjacent pastry business in the same.
And chat, if you look at the type of businesses that they're doing, these type of businesses are like, first of all, the structure really good. The business that you would never think a cartel is involved in, and if you can see how everything is structured, newly built, they're really planning. They're investing in these business to really invest in these business for life. Then they didn't expect the feds to come in and discover that they was running a calf. They're thinking, you'd think like, yo, a big cartel, you'd be thinking big corporate companies and stuff, you'd be thinking, oh, they're running a little calf on the corner, somewhere in Mexico, somewhere in America or Spain or, yeah, man, crazy.
Plaza. That's how deep this went. CJNG money also flowed into nightclubs, concert promotion companies, for example, a music promoter known as Galistica Diamante, where they laundered money through legitimate concerts with famous artists like El Fantasma, and avocado exports, a huge industry in places like Michoacán and Jalisco. There's also a beautiful beachside resort called Hotelito Desconocido. You can still find it on Google, but you can't book rooms anymore, and it's likely no longer operating. Another example is a large shopping mall called Shaman Ha Center in Playa del Carmen, which is still open to the public.
See, they literally invest their money in everything: shopping mall, beach house, apartments, condos. Yo.
And that's just the beginning. There are many more real estate properties and businesses like the ones you're seeing here. Now here's the twist. Despite having access to all that money, El Mencho didn't live like a stereotypically flashy cartel boss. Most of his money was reinvested into security and survival. Deep in the mountains, he reportedly lives in heavily guarded compounds completely out of sight. One of the most extreme examples of how his money supports his secrecy is the private hospital he allegedly built for himself. Suffering from kidney disease and unable to risk visiting a public hospital, Mencho is said to have bankrolled a hidden clinic in a tiny village called...
You see that? Now that's the idea of a smart man. Why not? If you want to stay in one place, you don't want to move from there, and you feel that's safe, you feel like that's the safest place, safest environment, you're gonna need to build a hospital. You need to have your own hospital, your own nurse, the community hospital for everyone that's there. Like, you know what I'm saying? This was a community guy, this was a guy that was thinking ahead.
El Alcihuatl. Tucked away in the woods, doctors would quietly treat him there and sometimes treat local residents too, helping him stay healthy while also buying a bit of goodwill. And that's another key part of his strategy. In poor communities under CJNG control, Mencho became a sort of shadow benefactor. During the COVID-19 lockdowns, cartel members were even seen handing out food and supplies in parts of Jalisco, Michoacan, and Veracruz. By helping people survive hard times, he bought loyalty, or at least silence. After all, folks are far less likely to call the police on the guy who's literally feeding their town. By the 2020s, CJNG was widely considered Mexico's most powerful cartel, and El Mencho had become one of the most wanted men on earth.
La mayoría de las personas entran a 2026 haciendo preguntas aleatorias a la IA como si fuera Google.
So how rich is El Mencho really? That's a tough question because let's be honest, the guy isn't exactly turning in tax forms every April. But even with all the secrecy, authorities and experts have thrown out some absolutely wild estimates. According to the head of the DEA team in Los Angeles that was hunting him, Agent Kyle Morey, El Mencho may have at least $50 billion in control. Yeah, billion, with a B. He straight up beat what...
$50 billion, you know. $50 billion.
Joaquin El Chapo Guzman had at his peak, which was $12 billion. If those numbers are anywhere close to true, that would make Mencho's cartel one of the richest criminal organizations ever. To put that into perspective, Pablo Escobar was estimated to be worth around $30 billion in the early 90s, and Mencho may have blown past that. Even Ismael El Mayo Zambada reported...
You know, I need to do a video on Pablo as well, Pablo Escobar. Yeah, because when I went to Colombia chat, I did go to visit his museum, and it seems like a very, you know, despite what we see on the on the media and stuff of these people, you know, they're still legends because the things that they did for their people and the community, you know, above the things that they did, you know, that they did negative or bad. I still put them as someone that you can, you know, idol and